Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Dad Project. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to have a listen to our little podcast that we have going on here, whether you're listening to this on any of the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, or you're watching this on YouTube. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening again. And if you're new to it, I hope that you are getting some value out of what it is that we are doing here. Before I get into it, just wanted to ask the favor that I always ask at the start or the end of the podcast. If you can help us share this around to help grow the podcast and grow what we are doing here, I would be eternally grateful. So you can like, share, subscribe on any of the podcast platforms, as well as following us on Facebook and Instagram. So the Unstoppable Dad Project on Facebook and at the Unstoppable Dad on Instagram. And then we also have this up on YouTube now, so you can jump on and subscribe over there and just share it around with your friends. Let them know what we're doing, and hopefully they see some value from what we are doing here as well. So thank you for doing that. By helping us, we can hopefully continue to make this a better listen for you. Now, this week, I'm going to talk about people that I have come across that are successful with their training long term. So heading on back to something that I have done for a living for near on the last 15 years, which is helping people become the fittest and strongest versions of themselves. And we obviously have a training program within the Unstoppable Dad Project for dads, which is it's a straight up just gym program, which is adaptable for busy dads in their life. So if you're interested on that, jump on our Facebook page and jump in our Facebook group, and there's some more information on that in there. But we've also run a gym for the last decade. So if you've listened to this before, you'll well and truly know that. If you are new to us, then now you know. And when I sat down and I kind of thought about what we were going to talk about on today's podcast, I went through and I looked at a lot of people that we've been able to coach over the years. And obviously we have people on such various ends of the spectrum. We've got people that don't quite get started. We've got people that kind of stick with it for 12 months. And we've got people that have been with us and been training with us for 5+ years. We're lucky enough that within our gym environment, we have over 30 people that have been training with us for at least 3 years. So 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So anyone that's trained and has done that, and has done that for that period of time and been consistent with it for that period of time, knows what type of a feat that is. And for us, it's something that we celebrate, the fact that we've had so many people that have been able to stay consistent over that time. But for today's podcast, I wanted to talk about 3 traits or 3 things that I notice in all of those people that are kind of universally transferable. And hopefully by identifying these 3 things, if you are struggling to make change, so you're struggling to actually implement something in your life, then hopefully this can kind of help you look at what you need to focus on in order to implement something that's going to be sustainable long term. Because the thing is, when we get to the point where we have children, and to give you a bit of an idea, like the people the people that I identify, the vast majority of them have family and have kids. There's not a whole bunch of them that are actually, like, with what we work, our demographic that we work with in the gym is kind of over the age of 35. And the vast majority of them have a family, whether it be 1 kid, 2 kids, some of them have 3 kids, some of them have 4 kids, so they're all able to continue to implement change in their life in a way which is sustainable, and prioritizing time for themselves and prioritizing time for their health and well-being. And hopefully these 3 traits these 3 things give you something that you can focus on in order to elicit change in your own life if you find you are struggling. Or if you find that you're inconsistent, maybe there's one of these 3 things that you may be missing that you're able to kind of plug into your life, which can just shift that in a way which is going to be helpful for you. So here we go. Number one is they have a plan. Now, that when I say they have a plan, this is in a few different areas. They have a plan, number one, with their schedule. So when they are going to train, that doesn't mean it's the same week in, week out, but it just means they have a plan. Now, in saying that, if I am really honest, the ones that are really successful are pretty consistent with the same timing each week. The ones that have to chop and change, there we have a few who are shift workers and things like that, but they're pretty much consistent with, if they have a particular roster, they'll be in at these particular times. The ones that are successful long term generally have a plan for when they come in to do their workouts or when they schedule their workouts, and they generally don't deviate from that too much, but they have a plan around schedule, and they also have a plan around what they are doing. And what I mean by that is that can be a program, that can also be, and I've met people and friends that I have that don't particularly train with us. When I say they have a plan for what they are doing, like they know what they're doing. If we're talking about solely training, they know what they're doing before they walk into the gym. They're not making it up on the spot. I personally am a big believer in getting somebody else to do it for you, because it takes the thinking out of it. Then all you have to do is act on it. But having a plan around those two things is probably the very first trait, or the very first thing that I have noticed in people who are successful with their training. So a plan around their schedule and a plan around what they are doing. The second thing, and this is a super cliche thing, and it's something that I actually try and avoid telling people. I don't know why, but as I've put together this podcast, it's something that I'm actually going to try and tell more people, because these people rarely miss a Monday. And when I say Monday, it doesn't actually have to be Monday, like the physical Monday of the week. It can be the Monday for them, because some people, depending on what your work schedule is, your weekend may be different. Like if you work on the weekends, your weekend may be like on the calendar days, Monday, Tuesday. So therefore your training Monday is a Wednesday. But and if you run a regular Monday to Friday, then Monday is the standard calendar day. So they never miss their Monday, whatever day of the week that might be. And the reason why this sets them up for success when it comes to consistency, and when I really thought about why this is so important, is because, let's say, for example, your goal is to get 3 sessions a week in. And I think for most people with kids and lives and, high paying jobs, businesses, 3 is a very, very good target. Like 3 hours a week of dedicating to some form of training or physical activity is a very good starting point. And I think, just to go off topic for a bit, that an awful lot of people overcomplicate it by trying to do more, trying to train every day and things like that. And you can move every day. When I say move every day, that doesn't mean train every day. That can just be as simple as going for a walk, like doing something physical, might be going for a run, taking the kids for a walk, playing with them in the backyard. That's moving every day. But training every day, going to the gym and actually doing a training session, can be a hard feat for a lot of people. And it is about prioritizing time and things like that, but that's another topic. But 3 sessions, let's say your goal is 3 sessions. You get session 1 done on a Monday every week without fail. All of a sudden, then you have 6 other days in that week where you only need to get those 2 sessions. Okay. Now, if you're able to do that on a Wednesday and Friday, have 48 hours in between your sessions, perfect. Well done. That's awesome. But I think what we know is, if we get our session, let's say we get our session done Monday morning, and then we rock into work on Monday, generally, when's the shit going to hit the fan from a work point of view? It's probably not quite Monday morning. You wait till, it depends on what you do for a job, but things start to wind up maybe Monday afternoon, but generally Tuesday morning from most people that I talk to. And like when I was in, when I was in business to business sales and things like that, generally it's like Tuesday. Tuesday's when, like, if something's going to go wrong, that's generally the day it's going to go wrong. So Tuesdays might be out at that point. Things might start to settle down on Wednesday, but they might not. So maybe I get my second session done on Wednesday, maybe I don't. But if I get to Wednesday and I haven't done my session on Monday because I've just kind of copped out on it a little bit, and then I want to make sure I keep Saturday and Sunday free for family. So now all of a sudden I'm trying to cram 3 sessions into 3 days. And then what happens is I miss Wednesday, and then it's like, shit, I can't, I'm only going to get 2 sessions done this week. I already haven't done anything, but I can probably get it done on Thursday and Friday. And mentally, by that point, because you haven't already made a go in it, you're only going to get 2 sessions done. A lot of people feel mentally defeated and throw the rest of the week out. And if we get that Monday done, then all of a sudden it feels a bit easier. It feels like, hey, I can still get this goal at the end of the week. And even if the other thing that I've noticed with talking to people, even if we get through Thursday and Thursday goes completely haywire, the person who hasn't trained on Monday compared to the person who has trained on Monday is far more likely to just do that second session on Friday rather than just not doing it. It's pretty rare, from what I've observed in the gym from human behavior, for somebody to miss all sessions during the week and then come and do their last session on a Friday. It does happen, but it's pretty rare. And I think we know 1's better than none, 2's better than 1, and 3's better than 2, right? But that's why if you get that first one done on the Monday, always training on Monday kind of sets you up for success to be consistent. And there are going to be weeks where things go wrong, but I think having that goal of just getting it done at the start of the week is a very, very good thing to try and help with long-term consistency. So that's number 2. Number 3 is when they have weeks where it doesn't work out, and everyone does, it will always, always, always happen without a doubt. There is no one that is absolutely perfect on their schedule and when they show up 100% of the time. You could get injured, you could end up, kids could get sick, you can get sick, work could just be completely ballistic for a week. So the third thing that all these long-term successful people in prioritizing the time for their training do is when they have a bad week, they're able to just get back to it the next week. And I did do a whole podcast on drawing a line in the sand and moving forward. So I won't talk about that a lot, but basically it's like, I've had a bad week. The next week, the goal is still the same. I'm not going to play catch up. I'm not going to try and punish myself because I missed out. I'm just getting on with it next week. If there is something that has happened the week before, there is a reason why that you can adjust. You need to look at that. But realistically, the next week, you need to just get back on with it. And that's the third thing. So the 3 things that I've observed in people who have been successful long-term with their training that I've had the pleasure of coaching are, number 1, they have a plan. They have a plan around their schedule and they have a plan around what they are doing. Number 2 is they rarely miss a Monday. Whatever day of the week that is, that doesn't matter whether it doesn't have to be the calendar day of Monday, because your week may run differently to other people. And the last thing that they do is, if they do mess up for a week or they miss out on the goal that they wanted to hit, they just draw a line in the sand and they get on with it for the next week. And by those 3 things, and the absolute specifics of those 3 things are going to change person to person, but they are the 3 things that, when I really sat down and thought about it, because I had somebody email me and ask me, like, because they were struggling to kind of build that consistency for themselves. And I'm like, what are the 3 things that I feel people need to focus on? So instead of what they need to focus on, it's like, all right, because we're lucky enough to have had interactions and training with people that have been with us for so long, not only do I know what it is, but I can observe what it is from other people. The three things or some things that I've observed in them that are, they're able to be so successful long term in prioritizing that time for themselves and implementing that change that maybe they haven't in the past. So they're the three things. Have a plan around the schedule when you're going to train each week. Have a plan around what you are doing. Don't miss a Monday. As cliche as it sounds, when I really, really think about it, the people that are successful long term very rarely miss a Monday. And when you do have a bad week, and it will be a when, it's not an if, just get on with it the next week. Get back to it. Get back on the horse. Don't punish yourself. Don't play catch up, and just get back to it. All right. That's it for this week. Hopefully you got some value out of what we went through. I appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and I will see you all next week. Goodbye now.